Now, if you've been watching this show for a while, you know that I love footy. Aussie rules football, the great Australian game. Also, I despise racism. But I am deeply suspicious of attempts at times to inflame racial issues and deepen divisions, the kind of virtue signalling that sees people denounce others in order to make themselves feel good. And that's why I was a bit conflicted by the AFL teams taking a knee before their games the other week. We were all sickened, of course, by the horrific killing of George Floyd in the US. But I worried we might be importing some of the divisiveness and trauma that we've seen in the US, bring some of the ugly politics from that arena into the sporting field. But an interview last night on one of my favourite shows, Fox Footy's AFL 360, has helped me make up my mind that that show of solidarity was definitely worthwhile. Carlton champion Eddie Betts shared his thoughts.
I was really proud, taking a knee. That was for the Black Lives Matters and racism in Australia. And it happens in our backyard as well. We got 432 deaths in custody here in Australia. And that was since 1991. My grandfather, Eddie Betts, so my dad's Eddie Betts, my grandfather's Eddie Betts, he was sick in Port Lincoln. He went to the doctors. The doctors turned him away because he had chest pain. They thought he was drunk. They rang the police on him, took him to the cells. He died alone in the cells by himself at age 49, my grandfather, Eddie Betts. So, I wish I could have grown up with my grandfather, but that's not the case. And, I know that he'd be proud of me and me carrying on the name Eddie Betts. And but, that could have been prevented. That could have been stopped if he was helped at the hospital. So that really, really proud that the boys took a knee, and hopefully we can continue to make change in the future.
So Eddie had a very personal connection there, but there's more to this, and I want to explain it because you might be shocked by what Betts has had to put up with. There's no player in the Aussie rules game more widely loved than Eddie Betts. He never stops smiling, he always gives his all, and his sheer brilliance, well, it just takes your breath away.
Just because it was Crows with the numbers at ground level, still in. Eddie fooled them all, escaped, Eddie Betts, Eddie Betts!
Staying down, he's laying. Eddie Betts streams in on open goal. Eddie kicks his first back at the Blues.
Now, I've grown up with footy, and since I was a kid, many of my favourite players have been Aboriginal, not by design, not because they were Aboriginal, but because they've been the stars in my teams. Players like Roger Rigney and Michael Graham from Sturt in the SANFL, and in the modern era, Betts and Charlie Cameron when they were at the Crows, and my favourite player of all time, the dual Norm Smith medalist, Andrew McLeod. Yet we've often liked to think that footy is colourblind. But then we had the controversy around Adam Goodes, which I reckon got pretty complicated and pretty nasty. It sure brought a sharp focus to these issues. Yes, there was racism involved, which was intolerable, but there was also politics and on-field incidents. Goodes, absolute champion that he was, didn't endear himself to opposition fans. A lot of players don't. The booing was shocking, and I'm certainly not excusing it. It was shocking. I'm just saying there was more than racism in the mix. It wasn't that simple, the simple way some people have tried to portray it, which is why I reckon it's important to listen to a bit more from Eddie Betts. He's the type of player that even opposition fans feel like applauding. He's played more than 300 games for Adelaide and Carlton and kicked over 600 goals. He's fair and fearless. Betts isn't demonstrative with umpires or opponents. He's one of the game's most likeable figures. And yet, as recently as last week, he was again confronted by another instance of racist abuse. Listen to the impact this stuff has.
It's just tiring, just fighting, and it just keeps happening every year. The last 10 years, the last 6 years over in Adelaide, I've been racially abused every year online. I had a banana thrown at me. And quite frankly, I'm getting really sick and tired of that because it just drains you, and you kind of think, why am I playing footy? But then I think to myself, I need to let people know what I'm going through with everything that's going on in the world. With over in America, Black Lives Matters, and this stuff is still happening here in Australia, and it's still happening to us, to Aboriginal people here in Australia. I've always said to myself, well, I've done nothing wrong. Well, why can't you just come and enjoy the game of footy? And I think, what the only problem that they have with me is that I was born black, and I guess I believe that's the only problem that they have with me. And I guess, you know, I'm just sick and tired of it. And I guess what I want to say to Australia is, you know, open your eyes up and, you know, start to listen and learn and educate yourself, because I'm sick of copping it. I'm absolutely sick of copping it, and, you know, and it hurts, and it deeply hurts. And you think to yourself, why do I play footy? Why should I keep playing footy if I'm going to keep copping this? But, you know, I want to make a change. And the way to keep hurting these guys is just keep playing great footy and keep smiling, and that's what I love doing.
Imagine that. That's how bad it is. Makes a bloke like Eddie Betts second-guess himself about whether he wants to play footy. Now, of course, the overwhelming majority of Australians are not like this. Just about everybody, of course, is on Eddie's side. But still, the bigots and the idiots, either face-to-face or through anonymous online posts, they force others to put up with racism, to second-guess themselves. Well done to Eddie Betts, because whether it's Betts or Adam Goods or Jonathan Thurston or Kathy Freeman or some kids we've never heard of getting started in netball or rugby league, no one should have to put up with this absolute garbage. And in the end, it is only peer pressure that works. It's only calling it out that can stamp it out.